Hello and welcome to episode number 26 of No Whining. We are going to kick things off today with this. This is a 2023 Herederos del Marqués de Riscal. This is a Verdejo, and this is around a $15 bottle of wine. It is coming from the Rueda region in the Duero Valley in Spain. And some information from the tech sheet before we get into wine number one. It says, once the alcoholic fermentation has finished, the wine remains in contact with the lees in stainless steel tanks for between 1 and 2 months. After a short time of maturing, the wine will be bottled between the months of January and March following the harvest. And there was some information where there were a couple instances of frost damage during the vintage season to the vineyards. And then it goes on to say more about the vineyard variation or vintage variation. It says, and then until mid-June, there were a number of episodes of rainfall, which meant intensifying the care of the vines to prevent possible outbreaks of cryptogamic fungal diseases. In addition, during the periods of flowering and fruit setting, the rainfall was accompanied by cold days and strong gusts of winds from the north, which had a negative effect on fruit setting and the potential production of the harvest. Temperatures in July and August were slightly above the seasonal average, while precipitation was non-existent during these months. Good indicators of ripening were observed with balanced, healthy grapes, and the harvesting began on the 22nd of August. That is 10 days earlier than the norm in recent years. There is a lot of importance in understanding and paying attention to vintage variation based on the weather patterns. And so especially in a place like Bordeaux in particular, you see a lot of that where there's emphasis on which were the best vineyard years or vintage years. And it's because of these type of factors, it really can have a huge impact. And so you can have the exact same wine, but from one year to the next, if you're not paying attention to some of these things, you can wind up with a wine that you're like, I don't remember it being like this. And that could either be a great thing if the wine is now better than before, but it's not so great if it wasn't as good as before. And this is going to have an impact on the pricing, of course, as well. So I hope some of that information is helpful. Let's get into our first wine of the day. Okay, this wine looks to be a clear medium lemon color. It's got medium viscosity on the sides of the glass there, and there looks to be just a slight pétillance, again, effervescence. So that's what it looks like on the eyes or on the peepers. Let's give it to the schnoz and check it out there. Okay, this is a clean wine. It's got medium, I would say, intensity aromas of starting out with lemon zest, melon, peach, pear, lime, tangerine, and fennel. On the floral side, getting some lily, some orange blossom, a little bit of saffron as well on the floral side, I would say, just a hint of that. A little bit of bread dough like brioche, and that would be from the lees aging that they referenced. That's where those aromas would most likely come from. And then you got some like sage notes in there, a little bit of tarragon, even some grass, I would say, on this, and maybe a little bit of, not salinity, but minerality, I would say like gravel. So it's got quite a bit going on the nose. Let's give it to the jaws for a glance. Okay, dry wine. I would say it's got a light body on it, medium in terms of alcohol, probably around like 13, maybe 13.5%. And then it's got, the acidity is actually pretty high on this. And then medium intensity, medium plus actually, I would say intensity flavors of just kind of confirming all the things that I picked up on the nose. And the finish on this is not spectacular. It's clean, but it's not especially long. I would say like medium minus. And so this wine it's good. I like it a lot, especially because the price point on this, I think it's like $15. So that's pretty awesome. But it's like it's one of those wines that you would want to drink now. Like, you wouldn't want to lay this bottle down and save it in the cellar and like, oh, wines get better with age. Most wines don't get better with age. And this one certainly wouldn't either. This one is made to be drunk early. It's very apparent. And that's when they were talking about the preservation of the varietal aromas and flavors, and that it went through a short period of aging before bottling. That's indicating that it's going to market really quickly because it's best going to be enjoyed when it is young and when it is fresh. All right, let's move on to wine number 2. This is a 2017 Familia Torres Salmos. This is about a $35 bottle of wine. This is coming from the region of Priorat in the Catalonia region in Spain. And so it's like kind of in the northeastern corner of Spain. And these vineyards are planted in particular on shale slopes, so licorella, which is a really special kind of soil that's fairly ubiquitous and unique to this area. And it's like basically red slate with like mica particles in it. And what it does is it really helps absorb heat from the sun and then re-radiate that heat back to the vine. So producing really, really vibrant, very ripe fruit flavors in the grapes themselves. This region is especially hot. It's super dry, especially in obviously in the summertime. And the thing about this is these are really difficult conditions for the grapes to flourish in. And that is, interestingly enough, why it actually makes for very great wines. If you have things that are really, and there's a life lesson in this too, but if it's very comfortable, if you have really fertile soils for the grapes and they're just kind of flourishing, it actually makes for wines that are dilute. They don't have great concentration. They just haven't gone through kind of like the suffering, I guess, that they need to in order to really concentrate their flavors and the sugars in the grapes themselves. And so you wind up with wines that are paradoxically not very good. But if you have soils like this, and conditions and weather patterns like this in these type of sort of extreme climates, you actually tend to get exceptional quality of grapes. And the grapes on this are Cariñena, Garnacha, and Syrah. So this is a little bit of a blend. Some information from the tech sheet. It says 12 to 14 days of skin contact. And then the fermentation was in stainless tanks under temperature control and malolactic fermentation in French oak barrels. Aging, it says during 14 months in French oak, 20% was new. And then weather conditions. In 2017, temperatures were within normal range throughout the growth season, but showed some variation across time. The first half was warmer. June was particularly hot. But the ripening period was unusually cool due to lower temperatures in September. In terms of total precipitation, the growth season saw little rainfall, and it is worth noting that the ripening period was especially dry. Okay, let's get into our second wine of the day. Okay, this wine is a clear, medium ruby. It looks to have high viscosity on this. Maybe just a little bit of staining of the tears. It's pretty slight, and I did a much better job polishing this wine glass than the last one. The last one was a really shoddy job, so I need to up my game there. Okay, let's give this to the schnoz. Okay, this wine is clean. It's got pronounced aromas, and something I didn't mention actually earlier is like on the meniscus, on the rim itself, it's got a little bit of a watery edge to it. So that'd be maybe, and would make sense, indicating some age. This is a 2017 wine. I also don't think I gave you necessarily the pricing. Maybe I did. This is a $35 bottle of wine. Okay, what are the aromas we're gonna find? Raspberry, red cherry, like dried strawberry, a little bit of bilberry or blueberry on here as well. Black plum, some fig, also some prune. So we've got some fruit development. So this is a wine that's developing. We got some like toast, a little bit of cream in here. On the floral side, some candied violets, cherry blossom, like confected like rose petal. A lot going on on the nose in this wine, and I don't even think we're really that close to being done yet. Getting some rosemary, like sandalwood, like a sweet tobacco is in here. Gosh, vanilla, alongside like smoke, maybe even like there's like a sweetness and nuttiness, like some roasted almonds. Yeah, and there's just maybe the slightest bit of like some barnyard aromas on here as well. Okay, that's all for the schnoz. On to the jaws. All right, that is dry, got a medium body, high alcohol for sure, which is, you know, pretty typical of this region, especially something that's like a garnacha. That is a very high alcohol producing grape in general. This particular wine is sitting at 14.5% alcohol by volume. The tannins are not especially high on this, actually. This has pronounced flavors, I would say, of everything that I mentioned from the schnoz. I am getting something else, though, here, and that is like a candied or confected orange peel flavor. So that's really interesting. But again, pronounced flavors on this for sure. This is a really nice wine. This is a very good wine. High quality, lots of complexity. It's got a really... it's got a pleasant finish. It's not super long. It's actually probably medium minus, but there's great complexity. The balance is definitely there, the intensity. So I really, really like this wine. It's not over the top. It's not opulent. It's not punching you in the face with intensity. But what it is giving you is a lot to think about and a lot to kind of meditate on and just really being present with all the flavors. And it just keeps unfolding. And that's probably my favorite part about this wine. So let's bring both of these in. I am going to give the victory here to the red, right? The Priorat. This is just wonderful, and the complexity. It's really well put together. A beautiful, beautiful winemaking, but on top of just, you can tell the quality of the grapes, and like, you've got to start with incredible quality grapes. You can't just do great winemaking. It's not going to pan out. And this Verdejo, this is wonderful as well. This is similar in a lot of regards with like the high acid, like a light bodied, with some of the green on the aromas that we were picking up, like the grass, a little bit similar actually to a Sauvignon Blanc. So if you like that and you want to try something that's just a little bit different, a shade different, this would be really nice. So again, for the price, this is pretty awesome. Hard to beat, $15. This is sitting around $35, but well worth the price in my opinion. So I'm giving the nod to the red today. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you back here in episode 27.